Hello, everyone. Greetings and salutations. Welcome back to another episode of the Back of the Pack podcast. I'm your host, Kyle Walker. Thank you for joining us as always. It's Memorial Day. I hope everyone's having a very fun and safe holiday weekend. Unfortunately, the weekend is coming to a close. We'll all be back to work soon enough, but I hope it was a good time and that you're able to get some runs in, get some miles in, maybe even run a race. You know, this is a holiday episode, so I know we're not going to go a full 30 minutes because you don't want to listen to all that because it's the holiday. So I get it. We are now officially unofficial in our start of summer. You know, everyone looks at Memorial Day as the unofficial start of the summer season. So just remember, as the temperatures start to go up, runs are going to get a little more difficult and hydration is going to become all the more important. So don't find yourself dehydrated during a race or a training run. Make sure that you are drinking all the water and Gatorade. That's all I'll harp on that one, but you know I'm right, and it's coming. It's coming real soon. So first thing I want to start with, and this was completely my fault, 100% my fault. I take all the blame in the world. This was just an egregiously slow process. That was my own doing. But if you didn't see the video last week, we did finally post our winners of the raffle. So as you guys know, as you are tired of hearing about, I've raised all that money for the Boston Marathon, starting in the fall of 2022, all the way through the beginning of April 2023. Well, we did have a raffle going on where if you had donated funds towards my goal of running Boston, you were entered into a raffle. So we finally did the raffle just last week. And again, I apologize that it took so long, but you guys were great. For me, it was a really good process of going back through all the donations and seeing all the various people who helped. And, it was interesting because, it wasn't just running friends. It was friends. It was family. It was former classmates. It was just people from almost every walk of life that I've ever, gone up or down. And it just was really kind of cool to see all the names of all the people who helped me. Some surprising names of people maybe we'd lost contact a long time ago, but through social media, they were able to help out. It was really neat. So we did draw the names. There were 222 potential winners for this prize. Again, if you had donated $20, your name was in once, $40 twice, $60 three times, $84, and then $105, things like that. So we did the drawing, and I'm going to go ahead and give the names, although looking at all three of them, these are all people that don't come from my running world aspect of life. So I don't know if they will ever hear this, but I will reach out to them and make sure they get their prizes. But the third place prize was some Back of the Pack podcast swag, a sticker, bracelet, t-shirt. The winner of that is my buddy Matt Lindsay. Again, he used to be a runner, and once a runner, always a runner in my opinion. A veteran of the Marine Corps Marathon. I know he did that one. So he's going to get himself some Back of the Pack podcast swag. Next up is a free entry into the Casey Hustle Run, coming up on September 17th. And that's either the 5K or the 10K. This will be her choice. This is Michelle Seeby. So she wins the free entry into the race. And then the number one winner. And so winning the grand prize. Now the grand prize was, I will sign you up for whatever race you want. It is yours. If you want to do the Kansas City Full Marathon in October, I'll sign you up for that. I would cover the cost of a race. Well, the winner was someone who definitely is not inside my world of running. I do not believe that she is a distance runner. We know each other through work many, many years ago, but I will figure out a way to make this right. But Jody Shireman was our grand prize winner. And again, thank you to everyone who participated, who helped, who got me to Boston so that I could run that race. Again, I know I've said it ad nauseum, and I'm going to, of course, say it again, but you guys were the real MVPs, and so here, this is for you. There we go. Thank you all so much. This kind of concludes everything about Boston. We had 2 episodes about it. You saw the social media post. We did months and months of begging and pleading for money. I've addressed it many times, but I think we're done. The drawing, the raffle is now concluded. We're finally finished, and on we go with life. So, like I said, this is going to be a shorter than usual episode. What I think I'm going to do is we did a race this weekend. The Saturday was a new race for me for covering of the show. It was well received on our Facebook page, the Back of the Pack podcast Facebook page. If you haven't gone out and given us a like or a follow, I invite you to do so. And then we're just going to kind of again, we're at the unofficial start of summer. Let's just kind of roll through, look at the summer races we've got going on, and then we'll call it good for this week and get everybody back to their grills and their burgers and hot dogs and whatever else you might be doing. So Saturday of Memorial Day weekend was the Bill Snyder Highway Half Marathon. So this race offers a half marathon and a 5K held in Manhattan, Kansas. And it was my first time running this race. Not going to lie, loved it. Loved the race. That was a really fun experience. So I went down the day before, went down Friday afternoon, got my packet from, I think, Manhattan Running. Oh, goodness. Are they Manhattan Running Group, Manhattan Running Store, Manhattan Running Company? I think it was Manhattan Running Company. And I'm sorry if I'm getting it wrong. Your store down there in Manhattan was actually very nice. Really cool store. I enjoyed that. The packet pickup process was very easy. I'm a dork. I'm not going to lie. But I was there in line, and the person in front of me got their half marathon bib. So I kind of peeked because it was just, they're grabbing the bib off the top. They enter it on the computer, your name, that's your bib number. Well, and I saw the next number was like 899. I'm like, ooh, I'm from Kansas City, over here on the Kansas side. I wonder if they would let me have bib 913, the area code of Kansas. Thought, we're almost there. They could just reach a little under the pile. Okay, well, they couldn't do that because it stopped at 900. So they're like, do you want number 900? Well, yes, I do. Back of the Pack podcast, I will take the very last half marathon number. Cool. And away we go. So I got my bib and I was good to go. Made it back to the hotel. Went to the fabulous Manhattan Olive Garden for dinner, carb loaded, and then it was off to bed. Woke up the next morning. I was staying at a hotel that was only about 3 miles away from the start and finish line of the race, which was the Bill Snyder Stadium down in Manhattan, the football field where the K-State Wildcats play football. So drove down there, parked the car, hopped on the yellow school bus. Easy process. Great job by this race. There was no, just hordes of people all trying to cram onto one bus. There are plenty of buses. There's plenty of organization. I just strolled right on up to the bus, walked up the stairs, and sat down. It was great. So then we took the about 20-mile ride out. I know it's not 20 miles. Jeez, I'm sorry. Well, math is fun. No, it was about a 10-mile ride out because about 3 miles of this race is kind of wrapping around elsewhere. But anyway, we'll get to that point. Took the ride out. The start line was just out in the middle of God's nowhere, out in the Flint Hills of Kansas. So they bust us out to the start line, pulled us off on the side of the road, basically where the start line was set up, where there was a line of porta potties. And then there was like a little gravel road and a hillside. And that's where everybody hung out before the race. But it was really nice because I got on the bus. Okay, so it was a 7 a.m. start time for the race. And I got on the bus at probably 6:15. So by the time we got out there, I had maybe 30 minutes or even less to just kind of stand around and wait for the start of the race. So that was really cool. Ran into a listener at the start line. Bill, it was so cool meeting you. Thank you very much for coming over and saying hello. That was super fun. We sat and chatted before the race, and then, with a few minutes to go, wished each other a good run, and off we went, and went into the starting corral. So, always nice to run into someone out there. That was really cool. Ran into our friend, the KC cosplay runner. He was out there as well, half naked with purple body glitter on. So that was cool. Running in a luchador mask. If you have not, you can find KC Cosplay Runner. He's all over social media, Instagram and Facebook. But yeah, definitely go check out the outfit for the Bill Snyder Highway Half Marathon. It was a good one. Braver man than I. I could not run in what you were running in on Saturday just because I do not have that kind of confidence in myself. So good job out of you, sir. But always fun running into you at the races. And so, yeah, we were off and running. If you listened to last week's episode, I know Ambassador Amy was at the race. She did the 5K. Our buddy Alex, 5K. Eddie, 5K. And I think there were some others. There's probably some folks that I'm missing. If so, I apologize. But a shout out to everyone who went down to Manhattan and ran that race. But anyway, the starting gun went off and away we went. The first mile of this race was a beautiful downhill. So you're hitting mile marker 1. You haven't even warmed up yet. You're not even breathing hard. You're not even sweating yet. It was a real easy downhill. Honestly, that whole course, at least the first 8 miles of it that are along the highway, that was easy run, my friends. I'm not going to lie. That was not bad at all. I thought in the Flint Hills, we might have a lot more, rolling hill action, to either extreme, either an extreme up or an extreme down. But either way, it really wasn't bad. Yeah, there was some up. Yeah, there was some down, but nothing too terrible or critical. So really liked that part of the race. Now, the police presence was big time because this is running along an active highway. You stay in the right lane. They've got the orange cones, but the left lane is opened up. And anyone going from I-70 into Manhattan, they've got to take this highway. And so the cops were all over trying to keep the runner safe. But if a runner went left of the cones, the cops were blowing them up on the PA system, which I thought was kind of funny. We also had a car go whizzing around us way too fast. Police officer did not take kindly to that, turned on his lights and siren and chased that dude down. So, you know what? Thank you, Manhattan Police Department. If it was a sheriff's department or if it was another county helping out as well, whoever gets credit for keeping all the runners safe along the Bill Snyder Highway, thank you very much for your efforts. It was greatly appreciated. So thankfully, even though we were running along the side of an active highway, no issues as far as I know. And as for me, I was having a great run. Like the first 8 miles of this race all along that highway, except for aid stations, I ran the whole way. And for me, that's big. Like that is unusual because I'm usually, after a certain point, I'm a walk up the hill, run down the backside kind of a person. Nope, this time I was running all 8. It wasn't until we actually got into Manhattan where I finally had to take a pause for the cause and get a little breath in me. But no, the race was great. The weather was great. Very light wind. Started in the upper 50s. Got to the upper 60s by the time we were done. Yeah, in the last 2 miles, it was starting to get a little toasty. Yeah, but it's late May. It's Memorial Day weekend. That stuff is going to happen. But we got there. Now, the only disappointing part, and honestly, if the race planned this, I know they didn't. But if they planned it, it was brilliant because they were doing construction. This was supposed to end in the stadium. You're supposed to run and finish on the 50-yard line where K-State plays football in the fall. Big, huge, beautiful stadium. Well, they're redoing the turf. So we couldn't finish in the stadium. We had to finish on the practice field, which is next door. And so I think this was their ploy to bring everyone back next year. Like, we will have them all finish on the practice field, but they'll really want to finish in the stadium. So they'll have to come back next year to finish in the stadium. Of course, then next year, there'll be a different construction, and then we'll have to finish on the basketball court. Maybe it'll be year 3 that we'll finally finish on the field. I'm kidding. I say all that in jest. But yeah, so we got to the stadium, but then we had to take a left. And I knew at that time with, less than half a mile left, maybe just a quarter mile, I was getting super close. Like I was going to get a PR. Like I was going to finally get a new PR for a half marathon. I could see, unless I just crawled the last little bit, I was going to do it. So I thought in my mind, and again, this is just your quick mental math as you're trying to run a half marathon and you're almost to the end. I thought, okay, I'm going to stop and take a few pictures. So I took a picture of the stadium sign, and then there's a statue of Bill Snyder at the front. And side note, for anyone out of the area, Bill Snyder is a former college football coach for K-State, for the K-State Wildcats. Probably one of the biggest college coaches to ever grace this area, brought the K-State Wildcats a lot of success. So he's a very successful former college football coach who was just very big in the Manhattan area. Just so you know, just a little backstory on who he is. And again, I didn't go to K-State. No personal college loyalties for me, but I always root for things that come out of Kansas, especially like in March Madness or football bowl season. If it's a school out of Kansas, I'm going to probably root for them because that's my state. So anyway, so I stopped. I took some pictures of the stadium, and I took a picture with a statue. A very nice volunteer offered to take my picture with the Bill Snyder statue. So we've got that. You can see it all on the Instagram page and the Facebook page. And then I got my phone back from her, and I looked down at my watch, and I looked at it like, oh no, like I'm taking too long. Now my PR is in a little bit of a risk because I don't know what's left. Like, I don't know how much is left of the race. I have a rough idea that, we're half a mile to quarter mile away, but I need to get hoofing it. So I get my phone back, and then I just start going. As much as I've got left, I go to the left of the stadium, have to run all the way to the end of the stadium, hang a right, go down a hill, go up a hill in the parking lot, hang another right, go up a big hill to the practice facility, and then I hang the left and I go into the practice facility. And I think, okay, the finish line's got to be right there. Well, no, they run you completely through the inside of the practice facility and onto the outdoor practice field. Then you take a right. Then you see the finish line on the 50-yard line. I go trucking down the finish line. I cross. I look. PR by about 2.5 to 3 minutes. closer to 3 minutes. Hooray, go team. This is just, please don't take this as bragging. I'm just very happy with this fact, and all of you PR chasers will be as well. But in the last calendar year, I have now PR'd every distance. I have a new 5K PR, 10K PR, half and full, all within this last year. So that's cool. That shows that this podcast and getting out there and kind of, I have to run because I have to be able to talk about it, is paying off. And so times are going down and everything's great. So I cross the finish line. I get my medal. I get my water. I run into Eddie and Alex. Good to see them. They had run the 5K probably hours before, but they were still there talking to people and hanging out and just kind of enjoying the atmosphere. Very cool atmosphere when you finish. Yes, it wasn't inside the stadium, but you're still on a very nice college football field on the turf. It was just kind of neat to be in there to kind of see behind the scenes of how these teams get to practice and train and do all that fun stuff. So saw Eddie and Alex, talked to some folks, and then finally, headed off. I was able to get in my car, get back to my hotel, take a shower, get packed, all before checkout time of 11 a.m. So that was just winning all over the place. Finished that up, came back home. So again, go to social media if you want to see everything. We're going to have the after action report on our website here very shortly. Remember, if you ever want to read in type in blog form what I think about a race, you can always find that on our website, www.backofthepackpodcast.com, all one word, or botppodcast.com. Anyway, can't recommend this race enough. I hope to go back next year. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and put it on my calendar for next year. I would like to do this race again. It is now my new personal best, so got to go back and see if I can't do better. It is certainly one of the easier courses that you will come across. Now, if anyone from the Bill Snyder Highway Half Marathon is listening to me, I don't think you are, but if you're listening to me, please don't take that as a negative. Don't take it as a challenge to make it harder. I'm okay with an easy half marathon. I actually kind of prefer it that way. I don't want to feel like I'm going to die before I reach the finish line. I would like to finish a race and think, wow, that was enjoyable and I still feel pretty good. So please don't take it as a challenge to make your course harder. Seems like so many races are looking for ways to make it more difficult. Don't do that. We love you as you are. We accept you as the race that you currently are, but next year, can we finish in the stadium, please? All right, cool. Thank you. So that was this race. Let's go do it next year. I'm looking forward to it already. It's going to be fun. So next weekend, so by the time you guys hear this, it's only going to be about 5 days away, is the 50th Hospital Hill Half Marathon. Dun, dun, dun. I know almost everyone within the sound of my voice is going to be down there doing some distance or another. No question about that. I know everyone's going to be down there. That is one of the biggest races in the area, probably the second or third biggest half marathon around this area. I would venture a guess. That is simply my opinion, not based in any fact. But we're all going to be down at Union Station and Crown Center to run that race next weekend. I enjoyed it last year. Last year, I was still trying to really get back into the running world. It was the first half marathon I had done in years and years and years in under 3 hours. But I think that was only at like 2 hours, 59 minutes and some change. So I'm hoping now, after, my times have been steadily going down in the half marathon, I would really like to do well, but I'm trying to be realistic. It's Hospital Hill. This is not an easy race, and they never want it to be an easy race, and they're never going to claim that it is an easy race. Hospital Hill is a beast. We all have to be ready for it. It's probably going to be a little spicy because that's kind of what Hospital Hill does. You know what? I'm just going to pull up my phone right here. Let's see. Early forecast for next Saturday. Sunny with a high of 84. So, yeah, could it be warmer? Yes, but 84 degrees and sun and that course. Everyone start hydrating now and just be mentally prepared for a warm day. It makes a huge difference when you are mentally ready for the heat. When it surprises you, like it did to me last year, running with the cows, like it does every year at a particular race, when the heat surprises you, that's when you're really in trouble. Be ready for heat next week because it's going to be hot. It's Hospital Hill. It's a tough course. It's a half marathon. It's going to be warm. It's in June. You kind of have to expect it. But it is the 50th Hospital Hill, ready to go. Looking forward to that race, and I know I will see a lot of you out there. Weekend after that, we get back to the 5K world. The podcast is going to be at the Heroes for Hospice 5K, and that is in Overland Park in Kansas. So that is June 10th. Did that race last year. It's a 5K. It's a 5K that starts out at Prairie Fire. We've done those races before. It's for a good cause. More than happy to help that cause out. And then 2 weeks now, less than 3 weeks from when you hear this, a little more than 2 weeks, a little less than 3, the Fighting Fentanyl 5K. Remember, that's at Mill Valley High School in Shawnee, Kansas, Saturday, June 17th. I want everyone there. Please, please, please come and help this race. They have been on the show twice. Libby and that group, they are great people. They are fighting a battle, a worthy cause, and I really want everyone to show up. If you come to that race, please, if you have it, rock some Back of the Pack podcast gear or Casey Hustle Club gear. That would be super great. I would just like for them to kind of see that we support them as, this podcast and running community. So if you've got it, and if you can get out to the Fighting Fentanyl 5K, Shawnee, June 17th, it would be super great if we could just kind of show our mutual love and support for this cause. So get there if you can. That's a big one. That is an official Back of the Pack podcast sealed race. We want you there. They get our stamp of approval. And then the very next day, it's a back-to-back weekend. It's Father's Day on Sunday, June 18th. We're at the Father's Day Superhero Run 5K. That is at the former Sprint campus in Overland Park. Again, the 5K is just 2 laps around their inner circle. Easy peasy, get a cool medal, on we go with life. And then following that, boy, June is a busy month. We're going to have another half marathon on Saturday, June 24th. This is the hometown half marathon. It's in Parkville, Missouri. It's at English Landing Park. This is a bodies race. I know we haven't done bodies races in a while. They're kind of here, there, and yonder at this point, but they've got a half marathon. That course, y'all, is going to be flat as a pancake. If you've never run a race at English Landing Park, and if you like courses that are so flat, there's no up and there's no down, this is your course. Welcome to English Landing Park. It is the flattest course in this area, and I will stake my reputation on that. It's just flat. So if you want a flat half marathon, and I think they have all the distances, well, except full, they have a 5, 10 and a half, then we'll see you in Parkville, Missouri on Saturday, June 24th for the hometown half marathon. And again, that's through Bodies Race Company. So, look them up if you want to go sign up for this race. After that, we're already heading into July, if you can believe it. We are going to do 2 races around the holiday. So on Sunday, June 2nd, we're going to be at the Stars and Stripes 5K. This is another one at Prairie Fire out in Overland Park. Yes, the Heroes for Hospice is out there. Stars and Stripes is out there. Almost exactly the same course, but the Stars and Stripes 5K is always a fun 5K. Very patriotic theme to come out, wear your red, white, and blue. Have a good time with that. And then, of course, on Independence Day, on the 4th of July, is the Ward Parkway 4 and the 4th 4-miler. We'll be at that race, as we are every year. Don't miss that race. And again, if you want a little 4-mile action, if the 5K just isn't challenge you like it used to, but you don't want to go to a 10K and it's going to be hot, then go to 4 on the 4th. I would love to see everybody out there, and I usually do. So then I think that, what do we got? Oh, and then the biggie. So after 4th of July, I've got 5 days. And then on Sunday, July 9th, the Shawnee Mission Triathlon. My very first triathlon. I do have a bike. I've ridden the bike. I'm working on biking. How I'm going to get up to snuff on the swimming, I'm not 100% sure. My neighborhood pool isn't even open yet. There was a problem with it, and so it wasn't even open for Memorial Day weekend. Yikes. And it's a teeny tiny pool anyway, so, it's a few kicks and then you're already turning around. But I've got to do something. I gotta get some pool action somehow. But yeah, that's right around the corner. So Sunday, July 9th, if you really want to laugh, and if you want to be supportive while you're laughing, there are tons of places along Shawnee Mission Park to watch. I would love to see people out there who, scream and yell and say, "Hey, Kyle, don't die." That would be super great. And then the weekend after that, I'm going out of town. That is my annual trip out of town with some buddies where we go and rent a house on a lake. And I'm not going to run. I'll guarantee you, I'm not going to run. I'm going to float in a lake and probably enjoy too many adult beverages, because I don't ever pretend I'm not a person that enjoys adult beverages, because I do. But I will be out of town in the middle of July, so no races there. And then really, honestly, that's kind of when things start to slow down as you really are getting into the dog days of summer. Not as many races because it is super hot. And of course, that is the period where all your fall marathon training is going to start kicking in, and there's not as much races. So it's kind of brutal when that happens. So we're going to fast forward just a little bit. We're going to go to Saturday, July 29th, Rock Island Trail Half Marathon. yeah, that's going to be miserable. I've never done this race. Now, I do hear that the course is very covered in trees. It's a very tree-lined course, but it's still going to be hot because it is the end of July. So, again, I would love to see people out there because I like familiar faces at races. It helps distract me, but that's going to be a miserable race. But July 29th, we're at Rock Island. And then looks like we got some time off. Boy, that can't be right. It can't be 3 weeks off of races. Of course, it is August, so maybe it is. But then we've got our buddies over at Rexy Run on August 19th down in Lawrence, Kansas. But the Rexy Run 5K and 8K will be held on Saturday the 19th. So please go sign up for that. Help out Baby J's Legacy of Hope and support a great cause. And come out and run a 5K in Lawrence. It's at a park. You go out of the park a little bit, you turn around, you come back. It's a very nice course, a very pretty course. Not a lot of traffic that you have to worry about. So I highly recommend Rexy Run, recommend that race every year. Then we've got some more time off. Let's see. Looks like we are now at the end of August. We have the Head for the Cure 5K. That is in Corporate Woods. That is Sunday, August 27th. Again, warm. I know last year, the night before, there was a huge thunderstorm that came through and really kind of wrecked their setup out there, but they recovered nicely. Race is good. And then we're getting into September. Again, we're going to take this probably all the way up until the end of September. Sunday, September 10th is the Plaza 10K. You guys know about that. That is the first race in the Heartland 30K series. If you're not signed up for the Heartland 30K series, you need to go sign up for the Heartland 30K series because the second race in the series, and the last one we're going to talk about, Sunday, September 17th, because you haven't heard me say it enough, is the KC Hustle Run. That is our 5K and 10K. That is brought to you by the Back of the Pack podcast. It is benefiting St. Jude Children's Hospital. It doesn't get any better, folks. This is technically the last race of the summer because then you flip over the calendar. You're into the fall right after the race. I think on the 22nd, somewhere around there. It's either 20 or 22nd of September. You flip the calendar over mentally, and it's fall. So it's the last race of the summer. You conclude your summer with the KC Hustle Run. It does not get any better than that. And then we'll shuffle ourselves on into fall running. So that is where we're going to be. Hopefully I threw out a few names of races maybe you'd forgotten about and thought, ooh, I'd like to do that race. Or, hey, if the podcast is at that race, I'll be at that race. Or, hey, I don't know where Kyle's going. We don't really care. I'm going to go do this over here. Whatever floats your boat. We're easy. We're good like that around here. So that is just kind of the run through of where we're going to be and some of the things we're going to be doing. I definitely could pick up a race or two as they come available, or maybe there's something I just haven't heard of. But this is not, don't write it in pen. Always subject to change. Then, of course, in the fall, we've got some traveling races coming up that we're going to go do. But you know what? We're going to cross that bridge when we get a little closer. That was our summer schedule. That's what we're looking at now that we are officially in the unofficial start of summer. I keep saying that for Memorial Day. It's not the official start of summer. I got to quit saying it. This is the unofficial start of summer, but it's what we all look at as the start of summer. I don't know. Whatever, man. Whatever, Kyle. So anyway, like I said, this is going to be a short episode, although it probably wasn't. I probably already rambled on too long, but we're going to go ahead and wrap this up and put a bow on it. So thank you all for listening very much. This is the Back of the Pack podcast. I am your host, Kyle Walker. It is my pleasure, as always. This show is brought to you by OKKC Sports, and it is produced by Katie O'Neill, producer Katie. And so we'll be back next week. We'll figure out something to talk about. We will have a couple races we can review, or at least one. And on we go with our unofficial summer running season. Haha, how you like that? Anyway, hey, it's getting warm. Be careful. Have a great week of training, and we'll see you next week.